Hello and welcome back to What's So Fred Next. So this coffee is really hot. I can see it steaming in front of me. It must be freezing in this room. But this is my second video and it probably should have been my first because I'm going to do the BookTube Newbie Tag. I just really wanted to get my January wrap up out as it was the end of the start of the new month when I uploaded my first video. So I was kind of backtracking a bit and I'm going into BookTube Newbie Tag. I've vaguely read the questions but not properly, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to have to put this down because it's steaming everywhere and it's going to be too hot to drink and I'm just going to burn myself if I start waving my arms around. Just got to try not to kick it over with my feet now. But question one, why did you start this channel? Honestly, I'm furloughed, we're in lockdown, I'm bored, and I read 26 books last month. I think I need to slow down on the reading and do something else, and this is a good way to be able to do something else that's still bookish. And I am loving watching booktubers at the minute. It's something to do. I don't know how long I'll stick to it, but I'm enjoying what I've done so far. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? For me, I think it's that I read such a variety of books. I read fantasy, I read contemporary, I don't read sci-fi, let's be honest. I read non-fiction, I really enjoy non-fiction. I love thrillers. I'm trying to read classics, they just scare me a bit, so I don't actually really read classics, but I'm trying to show that people can read a huge amount of books that come from all different genres. You don't just have to stick to one genre. I also come from a STEM background. I didn't study anything that's vaguely literature related after I turned 16, with the exception of taking German A-level, which means I did have to study a play. So I have critically analysed a book, well, a play, I suppose as an adult, but while I was still at school. So we're talking 10 years since I've critically analysed any literature. So I think coming from a STEM background is just very different. Most people come from a literature background. Question 3, what are you most excited for with this new channel? It's just something new to try, something to do, gives me something to do while I'm off work, and also be able to meet other content creators who love reading as much as I do. I think that's the main thing. I just want to meet more readers. Why do you love reading? I love reading because it takes you to a new world. It gives you a few minutes away from what you're living. It could be anything, and there's so many different books out there. I've got like 100 unread books on my shelves that are all worlds to be transported to, and that's what's so lovely about it. And it's also a really good way of bringing people together. Like my partner's mum loves reading too, and we talk about books together, which is really lovely, and it's a great way of bringing people together. What book or series got you into reading? As a child, we lived on the same street as a library, so we went to the library a lot and I would read with my parents a lot. I remember being in year 2 at school, which is sort of ages 6 and 7, and we could take home a book every night from the books in the classroom. There was a book about Louis Braille, which I loved and definitely want to try and read again, or like learn a bit more about him. But the other book was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. There was just something magical about it. I still remember now going to my dad, I don't get it, how can a square look round? Not knowing at the tender age of 6 or 7 that round and around are the same thing. They're sort of the first books that I really remember reading. I then started Harry Potter in year 3. My dad had already read the first 4, they were the ones that were out, and the films were sort of gaining traction. The first film had definitely come out and I had seen that in the cinema. I don't know if the second one had come out or was due to come out, and my dad said, why don't you try and read them? So I did, and so I was 8 when I read them. It must have been 2002, 2003 that I started reading them. So I flew through books 1 to 4 and then had to wait for the next ones to come out. Speaking of Harry Potter, I do not agree with J.K. Rowling's thoughts on many issues. I will try not to feature Harry Potter and her works too often on this channel, but there are Harry Potter things in my life because it was such a big part of my life. So if I ever do collection videos you will see them, but I don't intend on like necessarily displaying anything. Number 6, what questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I think not enough people talk about the books that everyone loves that they hated. I can't think of any of my own off the top of their heads, but if you see this, let me know in the comments what books you think that everybody seemed to love that you just didn't like and don't want to read ever again. Number 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Sticking to a schedule. I'm quite shy in the sense that I don't want to film when other people are around, so I'm kind of restricted to when I can film. Fortunately, me being furloughed and my partner isn't, at the minute He's upstairs working and I'm downstairs filming, so that's okay. When I'm back at work full time, that's just really going to be difficult trying to fit that in. When did you start reading? I feel like I answered this with the book and the series things. So yeah, I was really young. We always read, like I always read with my parents, and I always read independently. Question number 9 is, where do you read? I read everywhere, mainly on the sofa or on the bed or in bed. I like reading on trains, I find that really relaxing, but I'm not going anywhere in a pandemic. I used to read on my commute when I got on the bus every day. But yeah, I kind of read everywhere. The only place I don't read that I know a lot of people do is the bath. I don't like having my body wet and my hands dry, so I tend to watch BookTube in the bath. I put my iPad on the toilet seat and I watch BookTube instead of reading. And the final question is question 10, what do you like to read? I read everything, to be honest. I've got some books there. They happen to all be fantasy. They would fetch just the ones that I pulled off the shelf to put something in the background. The main books that I like to read are young adult fantasy / new adult fantasy, I suppose. I like an easier read and a less intense, like brand new universe, so not like high fantasy, just why I like sort of a new adult, because I like the more adult content without it being too complicated. Contemporary books, I really like a contemporary romance, and I'm a big fan of thrillers, although I do feel like I overdid the thriller thing in 2017, and I find it really easy to predict thrillers now. But yeah, they're the main 3 genres that I tend to go for and regularly purchase or pick up. So that was the newbie BookTube tag. Hopefully it's quite a short video compared to my last one, which I think was about 20 minutes in the end. So this is a bit of a shorter introduction to my channel. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, share. All my links down below. So I've got my Twitter, my Instagram, my blog. Everything is down below. And I hope to see you next time. I'm thinking my uploads are going to be Thursdays and Sundays, so check back on Thursday. Bye.